Hello again. I know that I need to keep shooting videos, even though I'm already bored with the whole idea. People that watch my comedy when I get on stage, they oftentimes will tell me that they've never seen anything like what I'm doing. They use the word original. That's ridiculous. If you think that I'm original, your taste is shitty shit, okay? You do not have a good taste. You have no idea about all the art that has existed. Like, I'm listening to a band right now that so many people haven't even heard of, because I'm sure they were too busy going on and on about the Beatles, you know? But 13th Floor Elevators, man, they were so much better than the Beatles. Oh my God, like, there's a long list of bands that's like 1,000 times better than the Beatles, and also the Beatles was a psych-op, so it's hard to appreciate a band when its sole intention was to brainwash people with a bunch of communist propaganda. Like, I don't think that people get how ingrained that is in our society. And the reason they get away with it is because society's stupid and they sneak that shit in. They're very conniving, they're very manipulative, these people. If we can even call them people. I don't call them people. I call them demons. That's essentially what they are. But a lot of these people don't have a soul, man. Because they sold it. They sold it. And you don't even have to believe in God or the devil to understand that. You know, so many people would rather be famous and make a name for themselves by being a total shithead or just an otherwise terrible person, you know? Like, a lot of people, I don't know how they sleep at night, but they probably take a lot of ambien. Yeah, I was gonna say, there's something for it. There's always something for that. You know, any type of problem that you have, like, you can always medicate. Forget all about it. Right. Yeah, man, if it weren't for big pharma, so many people might face their problems, right? I'm sure that there are those in the vortex that probably think that I'm being hard on people that take psychiatric drugs. Yeah, I'm hard on you because I think you're a pussy, and I think that you should come up with a better way to deal with your shit than, like, whatever they sell you. I'm not looking at the individual, like, when I talk about anything, whether it's psychiatry, smartphones, voting, all this stuff, it's meant to subdue the masses, okay? And in order to subdue the masses, like, they have to be brainwashed. They have to be thinking, like, oh, this stuff works, you know? Like, why would you buy a product if you weren't convinced that the product worked? Well, pretty much everything that they tell you is them trying to sell you something. And it's part of a bigger picture scheme to, you know, brainwash the public and make them think a lot of stuff's necessary that isn't necessary. But when I bitch about, you know, people that have smartphones, I'm not talking about, like, people on an individual basis, okay? Like, pretty much everybody I know has a smartphone. So if I really didn't want to associate with people that did stuff I disagreed with, like, I wouldn't have any friends at all, you know? But no, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with this I don't agree with this decision that everybody's subconsciously making. and they don't even know that they're making it. But I don't judge people on an individual basis because that would take far too much time, so I judge society as a whole. Their blind acceptance of things that don't make sense, things that are going to destroy society, pisses me off. And I feel like I have every right to be pissed off about that. Especially considering how, I don't want to say non-hypocritical, because I know that I'm hypocritical in many different ways. But it's like, it upsets me that people can't see the hypocrisy of their ways. And if you try to point it out, they're just full of excuses, you know? But if everybody opted out, if everybody decided like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, we could seriously stop so many things from continuing. Like, we could. We get the masses to see that. Yeah. Never have hope in the masses. I'm not saying don't be optimistic. You should always be optimistic. You should always believe that good will triumph over evil, no matter what the flaming lips want to say. Wayne's a fucking atheist, though. Yeah, he is. He is an atheist. That's okay. We forgive. Still makes really good music. Yeah, man. It seems like a lot of secular people, they can write stuff that's like really profound. And I think the reason they write stuff that's really profound is because they have that void. If only they knew that God could fill that void, they wouldn't be so miserable, you know? But if they weren't so miserable, they wouldn't have such a need to create. I think that God-shaped hole really defines, you know, our generation and like why we're so lost. People can say that's ridiculous. I guess a lot of people that I used to be friends with back in the day, they'd probably be shocked by this radical transformation that I have apparently undergone. But I feel like this is always who I've been. It just took me a while to see it. It took me a while to see that everything that I want to do, like nothing's changed, but a lot has changed at the same time. It doesn't make sense. Well, it does in the context of multiple things can be true at the same time, you know? Like, you're still the same person, you're just looking at it from another angle, and it just makes more sense now, you know? I know that you know, Vortex. You're being stubborn. But, and so this friend of mine on YouTube, he says that he wants to manage me. Because he says I just need a little push. I do. That's not true. It's so hard for me to get anything done because I'm so lost in my head. And I'm so convinced of like so many terrible things happening that I won't do anything at all. You know, because I'm that paranoid of a person. People probably don't understand why I smoke marijuana if I'm paranoid. Well, because it subdues the paranoia, that's why. Like for normal ass people, they smoke weed and they get paranoid. But if you're already a paranoid person, weed will ease that and make sense out of it. And also like bring you back to God and make you realize, okay, God's got this shit. I don't need to be freaking out about nothing. That doesn't mean that I don't fall back into it sometimes. But I've noticed that, since I became a believer, a lot of that stuff that bothered me before doesn't bother me anymore. And if it does, it's nowhere near as great of a hindrance as it was previously. And that's all you can really hope for in life, is just that things get a little more understandable. Things get a little, I don't want to say easier, because you never want things to be easy. Ever. If things are easy, then you're not learning anything. But, shit, I forgot where it was. Just keep going 65 north, baby. Yeah, so I'm quicker to get out of my dilemmas. That's what it means to grow up. You're just quicker to get out of your dilemmas. You're quicker to see the root of the problem. You're quicker to see, like, how you fall into these traps and what those traps are exactly. For me, I have a really terrible time with guilt and shame. And that guilt and shame is brought to you by fear. I feel guilty about things that I've done like 10, 20 years ago, man. I'm still beating myself up for decisions that I made when I was a liberal. But I don't want to just blame political philosophy, because it's still me, I still made the decision to just be terrible. I want to be like, oh yeah, it's because I was socialist. It's too easy. I hate these cop-outs, People don't want to take responsibility for being a shithead, so they say, oh, this is why I was a shithead. It's all the booze I was drinking. It's not because I chose to drink the booze that made me act crazy. And I chose to laugh about it. And I chose to write it off like it was nothing. And that I didn't care about stealing shit. And I didn't care about sleeping around. And I didn't care about waking up in urine. It's like there's so much of that shit that I think about, and it makes me sick to my stomach, man. But it's like I did all those things. Imagining what purgatory is going to be like. It sucks. I'm sure it'll still be better than this shit. Yeah, that's true. Okay, we'll be back.